with a few moments we have been in this program, I've seen that we have the mind to be sure that things are done the way it should be done. Today, I'm speaking on the place of good relationship, not just relationship. That word good relationship in successful leadership. So the two words there comes in, good relationship and successful leadership. When we look at such a word, we see that there is something that God is wanting us to know. There are some relationships that are not good. There are relationships that are confusing. There are relationships that doesn't build. And so we want to look at good relationship and not just leadership. You want to look at a leader who is successful leadership. So flow with me as we go on, and I know God will have something to deposit in our lives. I say here as introductory that the focus of this seminar or this program is based on the word relationship, leadership, and transformation. Relationship, leadership, and transformation. And it is needful that we can give a little brief word concerning this. If we look at relationship as an information, we say that relationship, we must know that relationship can be personal, marital, or networking. So what I'm going to say now can also be applied to the marital relationship, can be applied to personal relationship, and can be applied to networking relationship, and that is social and workable relationship. When we look at it that way, we'll be balanced. Whether you are for marriage, whether you are working with people, or personal relationship, because we know in human relationship, we always say, my behavior can affect your feelings, and your feelings can affect my behavior. And when that is so, we then come to think of how do we make sure that our feeling does not disturb somebody else's relationship. Relationship can be seen as a coming together of persons with different opinions, thoughts, and feelings in order to achieve a purpose. A coming together of one or two persons, might be different opinion, but they are coming together to achieve a purpose. It can also be seen as a state of emotional connection between people, which create mutual bonding and dealings. And that is more on marriage, a situation that there is emotional connectiveness. And these people are bound with emotional feelings and love to one another. Some people look at relationships, especially the young ones, they look at relationship as a romantic bonding or passionate interest or effort in somebody else that aims in nothing than sex, which is not the one we are talking here. Because when we don't look at these things and know where we are, we can make a mistake. You see somebody say, I'm in a relationship. What kind of relationship? Only emotional, only sexual, only romantic. But we are going to go beyond that because we are talking about good relationship. Therefore, I can now say that when we talk about relationship, what I am going to handle, how good it should be, is a state where two or more persons have a passion for their own self, pay attention to each other, and enjoy the soft and comfortable life within themselves. A passionate condition, an empathic situation, where two persons come together, have attention to one another, become one another's solution, and then they go on. We can say that is relationship. And we say also, not only that, it is an identified feeling with another person that expresses the real dynamics of true friendship. This is, I say again, an identified feelings. We come into contact with the queen, just because of World Organization. And since then, we have gotten an identified feelings that one can be a blessing to the other one. The same thing to all of us here. Have you gotten an identified feeling towards somebody? That has to pronounce the issue of what relationship is all about. If it is not identified, if it is not seen, we see we have problem there. Where you can help each other, where you can trust each other, and where you can remain ready to approve and support. That's the aspect of relationship we are going to talking today. The place of good relationship in successful leadership. I say also relationship is coming together of persons built on foundation of appreciation, respect, and exploring. If there is any relationship that each other don't respect one another, it's a problem. Like a marital relationship, when the husband cannot respect the wife cannot respect the husband, the children cannot respect the parents, that is a false relationship, and it will be fighting every day. But good relationship demand is that it is a coming together, a state of mutual dealings. I do this, you do it to me, especially the issue of mutual activity. Relationship will call for that mutuality so that we can work together. And we know that if we look at the anthropological perspective of relationship, we say that relationship may be a connection between blood or between marriage or between also adoption. So whichever we are going to look at the relationship today, let us know that we want to talk about the good side of the relationship. What is the place of this relationship to leadership? Then coming to leadership, in order to get broader understanding and additional word to what other speakers have said, I would say here that leadership is a discipline or a deliberate exerting influence. Somebody make a statement, I believe it, that leadership is influence. Your ability to influence somebody shows the credibility of your leadership. Leadership is influence. And so a leader is a person, or leadership is a person or discipline where we influence another person within the group to move the group towards a goal. As I influence the people, I lead them towards a goal, and my influence will affect their life. That is leadership. Or we say leadership is the act of inspiring subordinates to perform and engage in achieving goals. You may not be the one to do the work, but now you have to influence them in order that they can carry on the work. And we know leadership is the demonstration ability or demonstrated ability to make decisions to achieve results. If we look at all this, and then we bound it up now with transformation, and we now come to see that if leadership and transformation, which is the theme of this program, how to transform leadership and relationship, we can now remind ourselves that transformation has to do with the living or experiencing a change in nature, a change in disposition, a change in heart, a change in character, a change in form, and a change in appearance without affecting the foundational stand of life. So having said about those three definitions or words to say, I come now to say the importance of good relationship in successful leadership, which I'm going to handle the case of Moses, Joshua, Paul, and the rest of them. We will see that is bounded on some things which I want to look at it. A leader per se must be a psychologist who should be able also to know exactly what is going on. I learned one lesson in John chapter 2, verse 24-25. It said, Jesus did not commit himself to men because he knew men. And he did not want anybody to talk to him about man because he knew what was in man. And that's why in one of my books, I wrote on Knowing the Man, a psychological view of human being. I explain the issue in three perspectives. Number one, I look at human self-model. When you look at human self-model, which a leader must understand human self-model, man is divided into four self-model. One side of the model is open self. Another side of the model is blind self. Another side of the model is hidden self. And another side of the model is unknown self. If you understand this, you see that in leadership, you give a good and successful leadership. What do I mean by open self? That is the area of you that is known to you and known to others. The behavior you are behaving, people know what you are doing, and you know what people are doing. You know it, and others know you. But let me say, there is an area of your life which is called hidden blind self. That blind self is, it is known to others, but unknown to you. There are some people look at you as a leader. You may not know that what you are doing, others have known it better than what you are doing. If you don't understand that you have a blind self, where you don't know it, but others know you, then you don't make it. What happened that Jesus asked the disciples a question? What do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? He was looking at that blind aspect. If he may not even know, though he knew everything, but he wanted them to say what others are saying about him. I want to say to you, leader, people have a little knowledge of you than what you know yourself to be. And it is when you understand this, you work on every aspect of your life and you can achieve a successful leadership. There's the area we call hidden self. The hidden self is known to you, but no other person knows it. Known to you, but unknown to others. That one, you just preserve yourself. You know it, what you do, others may not know. And that is when the motive is there. You know what you are doing. You know why you tell them what to do, but they may not know your mind. That has to do with motivational activity. So if you know that there is something you know and they don't know, you must guide again what you know. Because since they don't know it, they can bring counter advice. They can bring counter issue, and you may fail in the purpose of leadership. And there's the other side we call unknown self. Unknown self is unknown to you and unknown to others. That one is God alone who understands. So as a leader, we must understand, how far do I know myself? To what extent do people know me and I don't know them? To what extent do I know myself but they don't know me? And to what extent is this thing close to me? When you are able to have that human self-model, you see that that is step one to becoming a successful person, where you know their open self, your blind self, your hidden self, and your unknown self. I'm going again, number two aspect is the area I call human personality traits. I'm looking at it a little for us to move from the psychological perspective to understand leadership. There is human personality trait, and that is to say the human personality pattern. Every human being is designed by nature based on psychology that some people are extroverts and some people are introverts. And sometimes when we subdivide it, we see that the four aspects is that as some people are, according to psychology, we talk about the choleric, we talk about the sanguine, we talk about the melancholy, and we talk about the phlegmatic. In my book, I simplify it that a choleric can be termed as a controller. You might be a leader who is a controller. Every time you want to give instruction, you may fail. Because if you take the lead at all times, you may have problem. There are some people who are the sanguine. The sanguine, I say in my book, they are entertainers. You can easily make friends with people. You are an entertainer. You can easily get close to others. You can relate very easily. There are some leaders who cannot relate very easily if they are the choleric. So when you come to see yourself, when you know yourself, you know how to deal with people. So like the choleric, there will be, hey, what I said must stand. They are controllers. If they are discussing with them, they take over the word. But if you are a sanguine, which is, I say, is an entertainer, you know how you can play your way, play your game, know how to present to people. They are good relation makers, but they are very careless because they talk too much to impress people and they may not be able to do the work the way it should be. Apart from that, we have the phlegmatic, which I say in my book, those ones are supporters. Anything you talk, they support it. Even when you are a leader and they give wrong information, you say, I stand by that, I support. You must know if you are in that direction, you will destroy leadership because you must not stand with what others are saying all the time, since you know you are the one leading. And they are the one we call melancholy in psychology, but I call it the comprehenders. These are people that if you talk to them, they will say, give me time, let me sleep over what you are saying. They sit down to comprehend, to really see what you are doing so that you can make it well. So in good and successful leadership, number one, you as a leader must know which one are you. Are you the choleric that I call the controller? Are you the sanguine, which I call the entertainers? Are you the phlegmatic, which I call the supporter? Or are you the melancholy, which I call the comprehenders? Then you also know the people you are leading. Who are they? Because when you have a clear understanding of people, like the Bible said in that John 2:24, Jesus knew all men. He knew what they can be able to do. That will actually help to build the work the way it should be built. So for that reason, after having that knowledge, I can now say that leaders' competency is assessed by the following. We are talking about good leadership, and we are linking it to relationship. If you are a leader, there are 10 or 9 things that you are assessed of by the people that follow you, by the onlookers, and by you yourself, which you should take note of. Number one is how much you know the people you are leading. How much do you know the people you are leading? Do you only know them some part? You know, man is a terrible being. If every human being has 17 things that make them differ from somebody else, and those kind of things is not applicable that you can be me and I cannot be you because of how God has molded us. So your capability or your competency will be known by the onlookers. How much do you know the people you are working with? If you don't know the people you are working with, you will give a wrong assignment to a wrong person. Your genuine interest can be frustrated because you did not know whom you give your work to. I learned a lesson from Jesus' dealings with the disciples. He was dealing with them on individualistic position. When Peter made a mistake, he said, "Get thou behind me, Satan." He never said that to John. When John came and told him, "Master, there are some people that are not doing, let's call fire." He didn't say demon. He didn't call him Satan. But what did he say? He said, "You have not been given that spirit." Then Philip came and said, "Master, show us the Father, and then we are going to be satisfied." He did not say you are demon. He did not say you are Satan. He said, "Philip, have I been with you all this time, and then you don't know me?" When we understand the people we are working with, you know how to answer them. You know how to work with them. And that will bring successful leadership. And when we remember, when Thomas told Jesus, or told the disciple, "I will never believe that is risen until I see the nail pierced hand." Jesus appeared when they were there and said, "Thomas, come and put your hand in me." He did not call him Satan. So if you will be a successful leader and achieve good relationship, there must be that aspect of knowing, having a good knowledge of what the people are. And when you are like that, people will see you as a competent leader. Number 2 thing that promotes competency is how much he is competent to carry out his functions. That is your expertise. How much are you able to carry out your function? You know, this is what we call situational leaders. You should have not been a leader. Look at when you have traffic. Even in Nigeria, that all the time the light may not be there. A traffic police will be there to lead the people. If the traffic police is not there, and then this one is jam-packed, this road is blocked, and they are blocked. Even a madman can stand at the junction there and tell these people, stop there, you come, stop. He's a situational leader. When he just finished that, he's still a madman, but people will listen to him. So whoever you are, people can accept you, but what they are looking for is how much competent are you in your work, which means successful leadership calls for competency in service. And we look at number 3 thing that people will weigh you and watch you with, that is how much you relate with the people you are leading. How much do you relate? That is now when we talk about good relationship. How much do you relate? How much can you carry them along? I am going to give a real time for that when we come to the practical aspect of how others who were leaders relate. You know, people can be willing to work with you, but if your relationship with them is not acceptable, they will revolt. You see, most of the presidents of our nations all over the world, there are some people that people admire. They get close to them because of how he relates. But there are some people who are tyrannies. And then they are there. People don't want to hear them. But they are ruling over the people by force and by anything. But when you talk about the Christian leadership and relationship, there must be that aspect of understanding, how do I relate with the people? The 4th thing that really show up that you are competent enough is your emotional stability and skillful handling of job pressure. Last week I said, or last time I mentioned that your personal emotional stability. What made Moses to break the 10 commandments? Those things is because he was not emotionally stable. When he came down and saw what the people did, his emotion rose and he could not control. He broke the thing and went again for another 40 days of fasting and prayers to get what he wanted. Many leaders have lost their temper because of job pressure, because of people pressure, and they decide to do what should not do. And you know one thing about anger, one thing about emotional instability, it can make you regret at the end of it. It can make you lose a lot of people who are supposed to work with you. It can make you to deal with your real friend who should have been your helper and supporter because you did not make well. I cite an example in the Bible. In Acts chapter 15, look at Paul and Barnabas. These were 2 people that were keen together. Barnabas introduced Paul to the disciples. They accepted him. Barnabas was told by God that Barnabas and Paul should be separated from the work of the ministry. But a little instability, emotional instability, created a problem. When they went for the first missionary journey, they went with John Mark. John Mark ran away from them because of hardship. When they came back home and they saw John Mark, they wanted to again. John Mark said, want to follow them. Paul said he cannot come. And Barnabas said, no, let him come. The Bible said in that verse in Acts chapter 15, he said, and the contention was sharp. The argument was too tough. There was no emotional stability on Paul until they divided. Paul decided to go with Silas. And then we see Barnabas now decided to go with John Mark. Look at the end of the journey. It was that journey that took Paul and Barnabas into prison because he did not control his stability. The emotional stability was not there. A leader to succeed must be able to control his emotional stability and the skillful handling of job pressure. Don't be so pressurized that you don't know what to do again. One of my friends had a crusade. And he came and told me, Akpabio, I had a problem. I said, what is the problem? He said, when I left the crusade, because I was damning demons, casting powers, doing this, converting sinners, when I went to the house, the same spirit was what I used on my wife and my children, commanding them here and there, doing, and my wife come and said, darling, you are in the house, not in the crusade ground. We are not demons. We are your wife and your children. And he calmed down and said, I didn't remember. I thought I'm still on the crusade ground. That is one thing that we need to understand. That many times the pressure of job can be on you, and as a leader, you want to blow it upon the people you are leading. You can miss them. So that is what people compare. Is he stable with the people he's leading? Good leadership demands emotional stability. Number 5 is that what it is known, what people will see that you're competent enough is your broad-minded attitude. Broad-minded attitude. And what do I mean by that? That's openness to learn, of acceptable use of contributions. Our leader here have been talking all the time that we are here to learn and to share. So when you have a broad-minded attitude, you read beyond, you go beyond. You may not be a medical doctor, but even if you are a preacher, you are somebody, you can learn some principles in medicine. That will now help you to be fully complete. So that attitude or that aspect is very important. Broad-minded. Read beyond what you are doing. Like those of us who are ministers of the gospel, you need to go beyond. One day I was talking to a lawyer. He said, are you a lawyer? I said, don't you know that theology is a alien profession? So I know what's supposed to be. If I don't know it, who will know it? So let us have a broad mind, because you may not know it all. Somebody may be in your group you are leading, he knows more than what you know. And so, especially with this, our phone, they can Google anything, know anything. If you don't have the broad mind and know it, they look down on you, they disrespect you because you can't offer what you are doing. Number 16 that shows the credibility and the competency of a leader is his credibility to deliver and what he really can offer, knowing that he is the leader. What can you really offer the people will make people stay with you. People run to people they can gain from. People run to people they believe they have something to offer. I look at Hebrews. The Bible says if Jesus was on earth, he could have not been accepted as a high priest. But why they accept him? Because he has something to offer. And I tell leaders over here, have something to offer, people will look for you. But when you have nothing to offer but you are a leader, people will desert you and you are there just for nothing. So good leadership will have to talk about the aspect of credibility. Are you credible enough? And that's why every day you add more. Every day you add more of what you are. After all, science, nature has taught us that every day we grow, every day we grow. And that's supposed to be in the way we are. Number 7 thing that actually proves that you are competent in leadership, because we are talking about successful leadership, is your foresightness, an ability to be in charge and make others know where you are and what you are doing. If you are a leader and you don't have the foresight of knowing where you are going so that you lead others to follow you and they are convinced that you know the way, it will become a problem. I look at times people go to the park to go to somewhere. If you go and enter a car that the driver doesn't know where it's going, you're in trouble. Or if you start a journey that you don't know where you are going, you're in trouble. That's why strategic planning, clear vision, and good dream about what we are doing makes up a competent leader. And number 8, the ability to sense when there is zeal without knowledge and to be sure of what the next step is to be. I laugh all the time when I look at Judges chapter 9, verse 38. A man was making all the noise. He said, who is that king? Let him come here. We'll destroy him. We will do this. We'll do that. And people will say, he has the power. But when the person he was talking against appeared, he ran away. And so somebody asked him, where is your big mouth? Well, what we see here is ability to sense when things are coming, to sense the zeal you have. Many people that we are leading, they have zeal without knowledge. They can say, let's go, let's go, let's go without knowledge. So you as a competent leader must have the stable sense of understanding. If I follow these people, what is going to be? What was the problem of Saul? Samuel have told him, wait, I am coming. And then the pressure of the work and the talking of the people who were zealous without knowledge told him we should sacrifice. And he sacrificed. That ended his leadership. And that became where God decided to lead their way. So as a leader, you must actually understand, have the ability to sense when zeal is going without knowledge, when people are advising you that you don't know what to do. But the last one I want to say, as we want to go into the real study, is you have freedom from informants. You have freedom from the captivity of informants. There's what I call informant and leadership. I want to let us know that every leader, even in the governmental circle, in church circle, every leader sometimes moves by information. And there are some people that may come to give you information based on what you are doing. If you are not careful and you are free, you don't become bound or in bondage of informants, you can destroy what you are doing. Some informants will come because there are some informants who are jealous of what you are doing. So they come to give you information so that you can fail and they laugh at you. Some informants are biased. They see the other person you give a job to, and then they are not given that job. They are biased. They give you a wrong information so that that person can make you fail. Some informants are very sincere. They want to tell you the right information so that you can use and bear. Be free from informant pressure so that you can make a stand. There are ways to scan. There are ways to detect who is the right informant. Not all informants are bad. Some informants are out to destroy you. Some informants are out to give you information. Some informants love you, so they want to tell you how you can guide against yourself. There are 4 or 6 types of informants. So when we look at all this, if you are free from informants, you only use any information given to you when it is necessary. You see, you will be wisely doing the work as it ought to be. Having said that, let us go now to example of good relationship in successful leadership. Number 1, I pick Moses. In Exodus chapter 17, verses 17 to 21, we see something. If Moses did not maintain a good relationship with Joshua, Hur, and Caleb, the success of the battle could not be won. And they are laying the principles of the result of good relationship in leadership. Number 1, Moses was to hold the rod, and that was his work. And as human, that hand may go down. And Moses was to fight the battle, but he must not fight the battle. So Moses decided to bring out the fighters, led by Joshua. And Joshua is there at the field with other people fighting with him. Moses is here on the mountain because the battle was in the valley. So they were sitting here on top to see what is going on there. Moses had to raise the staff of the Lord up. And there were 2 people that were there, Aaron and Hur. They were standing by Moses. But I see the secret of good relationship. Because I believe if Moses did not have a good relationship with Hur and Aaron, they could have not been observers and hand lifters. I see Aaron and Hur as hand lifters and observers. Moses never told them, my hand is heavy, I am tired. They observed it. And when they observed and saw that Moses' hand was heavy, they found solution. Do you have some people that are observing you to know the time of your weakness, to know the time of your strength, to know what you can do so they can help you and help your hands? Moses did not complain. They saw that there is something in the hand. That's leadership. As a leader, you are having the mantle of leadership, but they must be supporters. What did they do? When they saw that Moses' hand was down, and they know if they leave Moses' hand up, they may also be tired. They carry stone. Do you have the stone provider in your leadership? So that when you know the purpose of stone, to stabilize, the purpose of stone, to make sure that thing doesn't shift. And so they brought the stone, this one this side, the other one this side, and they kept Moses' side up and they held his hand. True leadership and group leadership and good leadership will have somebody who sustains the hand, somebody who fight the battle, somebody who lift the hand, and somebody who raise the rod. And when this is done, you see the success was won. The Amalekites were destroyed because somebody did not only stand to raise his hand, there were others who supported. There were others who observed. There were others who make provision for that leadership to succeed. And there were people who were there fighting the battle. This is a picture of good leadership or good relationship in successful leadership. We must look at that. Do you have as a leader hand lifters, hand supporters, observers of whether you are strong or you are not strong? If you are not strong, they know what to do. If you are strong, they know what to do. They don't just leave you like that. There are some leaders whom you don't have any of these things. So when you fall flat. What happened to Saul? Saul had an advisor who was Samuel, but he did not take instructions. There were some leaders who were, look at David. David would go astray, Nathan will appear and told David this, and David corrected himself. So let us as leaders, if you must enjoy successful leadership, have hand raisers, have supporters, have those who can observe what is going on with you. The other day we had a program somewhere. A minister was teaching. And as he was teaching, the voice began to go down. The voice began to go down. And we sensed it and told the people who were connected to him, he's a PA, go, something is wrong. The voice of the man began to go down. He was moving about, he could not move again, he stands still. The person refused to do what we were saying. The man slumped there and was taken to the hospital and was reported dead because there was no observer. We observe, but people did not take instruction. So if you are a leader, have some people that observe where you are going. That's why some people, if they are male preachers, they have their wife who observe their activity. Though some people use protocol people to make pride. So they carry their Bible, they carry this and pay homage and open. That's not the issue of those ones. They are to be observers, they are to be the providers, and they are to be the watchers. And there should be somebody fighting for us. A leader may have a fighter on their knee. And that is where prayer comes in. Those who pray that the program will succeed. He can have a fighter who says the scripture and tell and do this, so this is how it will be. A fighter can be an advisor at the level he is. So when we have this, you see successful leadership will come up. So we see that Moses had fighters, Moses had arm raisers, Moses had stone providers, and Moses had those who were conscious observers. Please, if you must succeed, maintain a relationship that people can voluntarily become your observers, become your hand raisers, become your protector. Not because you hold the mantle. It's my time. I'm the leader. I don't want to hear. No, when you do that, you destroy yourself. That is one aspect of it. We see the same Moses here in chapter 18. Moses also did not actually look at the aspect of sharing responsibilities in Acts chapter 18. When the father-in-law came and wanted to see him and said throughout the day, Moses was talking and talking and talking, answering questions, praying for people. The man called him and Jethro called him and said, you don't do right. You will soon die. Dear leaders, Give a chance for others to help you so that you can live to see the labor of what you have done. There must be somebody that you can invest in them and let them work. Thank God for the vision of YYCI, raising young ones to take over where we stop. Because one day we must stop somewhere and somebody must carry the mantle. I look at Christian service as a relay race. The person who starts to run, stop somewhere, hand over the baton to another person. He run, stop, hand over the baton to another person. And the one who end it is not the one who began. So if we do that, it will be good. When Jethro called Moses and talked to him, he said, look here, you soon die. I want to give you instructions. That's why if you are a leader, no matter your level, have an advisor, a confidential advisor who can actually help you do this and do that. Don't fail to ask him any question because he may know better than what you are knowing. I tell everybody, somebody somewhere is better than you. No matter the point, somebody somewhere is better than you. Sometimes even in the congregation where you are leading the people, somebody somewhere is better than you. Therefore, value people, value the interests of people. That is good leadership. And so when the man advised, he said, break the people into group, 1,000, 100, 50, 10. Let them take over the minor things. Then you now can control them, be to them God word. You see, there was that aspect of helpers of the work. So as a leader, there must be some groupings, the groupings of the 100, the 1,000, the 50s, and the 100. Do you even look at Ephesians chapter 4? When you go to verse 15, the Bible says, where the whole body coming together, where every joint supply and everybody in the group works. So there must be a group work, there must be individual work, and there will be a universal work together. When Moses was told this and he divided the work, it made it very easy for Moses to succeed. So as a leader, look at that relationship that resulted in good leadership. Moses was seen as a mighty leader because he had supporters. And I checked Moses also. One of the days in Numbers chapter 11, Moses complained to God. He told him, these people are too much for me. Please, as a leader, good leadership is known, is accepted, is appreciated when more people can be influenced by you and you can take them the height that they want. Moses told God, there are too many. And God said, okay, Moses, bring out 70 leaders who are elders indeed. And I'm going to take your spirit and put in them so that they can walk with you. And he brought out 70. On that day, 68 were there. We remember 2 were in the field. I always ask a question. Why is it that when God descended to come and carry the spirit of Moses in the 70 and 2 were not there, God gave the spirit on the 68 and went to where they were and released the spirit of Moses in them? We can see now that God was talking to the principle as the follower should be like the leader. The follower should have the spirit of the leader. And when they don't have the spirit of the leader, they will spoil the work. The follower should see the vision of the leader and work with the leader. God decided those 2 people, before you come, you must have the spirit of leadership. How many people in your leadership under you have your spirit? Think the way you think, walk the way you walk. We see Moses had this because God was actually helping him to be what he should be. And we see apart from Moses, we come down to other biblical examples. Another example is Paul and Barnabas. If you look at Paul and Barnabas, I didn't look at their separation as necessary in chapter 15 of Acts, because it is Barnabas. Remember the name Barnabas, that his name was Jesus, but the disciple called him Barnabas, meaning a son of consolation. My dear leader, do you have the sons of consolation in the ministry as you are leading? Because God has kept some people who can console you in times of sorrows, in times of trouble. Look at when there was no money in the ministry. Barnabas had to go and sell the land and bring money. Every leader need a son of consolation. And it's a son of consolation that will help the work to go. Because when you cannot make it, somebody can stand in for you. And so when Barnabas came, he was a good companion of Paul. And you hear almost 27 times they are called Paul and Barnabas, Paul and Barnabas, Paul and Barnabas, Paul and Barnabas. That is good relationship. I tell a leader somewhere here that I don't believe in you have a leadership today, a leader today, a friend today, tomorrow you don't have it again. Every day we break relationship. Every day we break relationship. Every day new relationship. It's not the best. Because if you keep on having new relationship and you don't maintain the former ones, after all, what does the scripture say? In the book of Matthew, he said a ready scribe is like a person who is a store giver that always at all times bring out things old and new. Old and new. Maintain the former relationship, and if new relationship come, don't condemn the former, because there's something an old person that work with you will always know about you, will always think about you, that new ones cannot come. So we see that Barnabas and Paul, they were moving together. Paul testified of Barnabas as a good man. Barnabas testified of this as a good man. If they had any problem, they could have not been together. Therefore, good relationship will actually produce successful leadership, because they were relating very well. So going on, even when they separated in Acts chapter 15, because of John Mark history, we still hear Paul and Barnabas together again. But I don't think that has been the full story of what Paul did. Only we pick up some things in other portions that Paul have written. So let us look at it, and good be good for you tomorrow. Nigeria here. There was a lecturer who was teaching a particular student while in the university. And then the student now is becoming a senator. And then the lecturer is now given a ministerial appointment. And by the time he appeared screening at the Senate, he was a student who woke up and said, this man is the one who taught me. He's the one who made me to be here. Therefore, I hereby say that he should be accepted. And that settles the issue. One thing is, somebody should be there to speak for you. Somebody should be there to defend you. And it's not a new person that comes into your life. It is a former person that is there. Paul and Barnabas had that understanding together. And that's where they could succeed in what they were doing and go on in what they were doing. Now we look at Paul and Titus. They were maintaining good relationship. And that brought about successful leadership. If you hear Paul, he went to somewhere in 2 Corinthians and he said, my spirit could not rest until I look for Barnabas. For Titus. I could not rest until I see Titus. That is because they have maintained a good relationship. And he could not rest until he see Titus. And Titus was a comforter to him. Titus was a man of truth. Titus was a man that had rest and respect. Titus was a man that could actually support the work to go. Because they have maintained this good relationship, it made them to go on very fine. Therefore, relationship is important. Even in marriage, I tell people when people come to me, it is when the man don't value relationship that will be having problem in the home. There are certain issues that can be ignored if better relationship is there. But when there is no good relationship, you see fightings, you see quarrel, you see divorce, you see this, and everybody's talking divorce, divorce, divorce. But Jesus said from the beginning, it was not so. So it is good relationship that can make it. And I say to also our leaders and leader relationship, I have learned by experience that somebody must introduce you in this life. Jesus had all the powers. He was the Son of God. but he needed John the Baptist to announce, behold, the Lamb of God that taketh away the sins of the world. No matter your level of leadership, there are places you will go and you need an introduction. You need something. Therefore, if you don't maintain good relationships, it wouldn't work. So let's see the way we can look at good relationships so that we can maintain. Like these people, successful people in the scripture need be introduced. Do you see even Peter that we talk about today? Peter was brought to Jesus by the brother, Simon. And even upon all that, he brought him, he was not even known at all during the discipleship program until everything is Peter, Peter, Peter. But somebody brought him there. So somebody must be made to believe in you. Then how can a leader maintain good relationship? Number one, by making people to believe in you. Strive at all times to let people believe in you. When people believe in you, they can do whatever they can. We remember many statements that we hear in the Bible, many stories we hear about people, many battles and fighters who have fought and they have conquered. We came, we see, we conquer. It's because people believe in them. So when a leader is not believed upon, when you make people to doubt on you, and then they don't know what you are really doing, and they can't believe you, they can't accept you. Why do we enjoy Jesus? Because we believe him. We believe that he died and resurrected. We believe that he can provide what we are looking for. We believe that every good gift cometh from him. And we believe that he has enough that he can supply. And for that reason, even when others say Jesus is not good, we don't mind because we believe in him. A leader can only be accepted and maintain good relationship when you have created a forum where people believe in you. Please, don't be a ton person. Don't live a secret life that people will go and discover at the end. One thing about leadership I know is that you are not hidden. Your secret life is known by a lot of people. You can go up there and say, I am the king. Somebody down will know who you are. Look at when somebody is promoted to say, is this, but they go and say, this is not there. He didn't have this, he didn't have that. Let people believe in you. Number two, if you want people to really work with you and to maintain good relationship, affect lives. Affect lives. When you affect somebody's life, he will never forget you at any time. But the reason what we have problem is people don't want to affect others. Provided I enter into that position, provided I sit in that leadership, provided I stand there, hey, I am the ruler, I am the king, I am all in all. No, affects lives. Financially, morally, any way affects life. The life you affect today will be your sustainer tomorrow. The life you invest in them will be well tomorrow. Number three that you can do, produce your kind. If you must be a leader with good relationship, produce your kind. I see the principles in the Bible. At the beginning of creation, in Genesis chapter 1, God gave instruction that every fruit, every person, every animal, every fowl should produce after their kind. And you see, pawpaw cannot bring in orange. They produce after their kind. So produce your kind. Let there be some resemblance. If you go, somebody will say, this one is like him. Somebody walk like him. That is after our kind. A leader that cannot have a duplicate of what he is not a leader. Either in what or principles. I come to look at God. God told the people when he wanted to create man, he said, let's create man in our image after our likeness and let them have dominion. And in Psalms chapter 82, he said, ye are gods and ye are the children of the Most High, but ye will die like men. God wanted man to flow in that level until the fall. And so we need to produce after our kind. Let them have dominion. Let them be like us. Let them represent us on earth. Have a representative. And you see that it will work. And because of our time, the last one I would say is value the people you lead. Value them. They are important. If they are not there, you will not be there. If they cannot make you succeed, you will not be able to succeed. And so when we bring all this together, we can see that when you understand yourself, the mindset, when you understand yourself psychologically, when you understand your informants, let people not give you information and then you destroy what you were doing. When you do this, you see that you can be a successful leader who is able to relate well. And your relationship with people will bring success in your ministry and your leadership. I raise my case here. I pray that God will bless you and make what we are sharing together to be effective in Jesus' name. Amen.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. You've really nailed it. And I believe that every one of us has learned a lot from your message today on relationship, good relationship with good leadership. Thank you so much. I have a question for you, sir, before you go. The first question, you started very well, but I need to really catch that, because when you understand the foundation of your teaching, then we'll be able to understand the rest of it. When you started with relationship, and you were trying to remind us again about all kinds of relationship. Can you throw light into that? We need to know so that the young ones can understand it better, because like you said right from the beginning, the way they understand it might be different. And we are the adults that will be able to share what relationship is all about. So I want you to elaborate it for us, sir. What kind of relationship, or what is relationship to start with, and also the kind of relationship, because some people didn't join us right from the beginning. And I have that question. Yes.
Thank you very much. I said while I was starting that relationship is almost 4 kinds. Then when we look at the anthropological perspective, we say relationship may be a relationship may be connected with blood relationship. It might be connected with marriage relationship. It might also be a relationship of adoption. It is a state of relating life and service with others. Then in the explanation, I really come to say that the one that affects the youth, which they must look at, is when we look at the romantic bonding or passionate interest in somebody. It's still a relationship. You hear them say, I'm in a relationship. And it's not a relationship that is going to last. It only ends with sex. And when we go on that relationship, that's the area we are not talking here. A romantic bonding, a passionate interest, or effort that often end in sexual excitement and arousal, which end with sinfulness. This is a mutual perspective of relationship. Marital relationship, if it is that these people are married, this can be accepted. But anybody who said is in relationship only because you have emotional connection, interest in the other person. You know, when Jesus made a statement in Matthew chapter 5, he said, whosoever looketh at a woman to lust after her has committed adultery already in the heart. Which means that kind of relationship that fits emotion will not work very well. And so that is the aspect of anthropological, that it might be only we relate because we will have sex, we relate because we sit out, we relate, and all that is ended. But we say that real relationship can be seen as a state of emotional connection between two persons, that is now marital. Any marriage relationship that does not have this surface is not the right thing. A state of emotional connectedness between two persons which create mutual bonding and dealings that ends in nothing more than exciting time, benefiting time, and enjoying time. That is the relationship that is needed in the marital home. If a husband and wife have not come to emotional bonding and connection, they can't make it well. But when we talk about in the service, we look at relationship as a coming together of two or more persons that is incited by things that impress the partner's opinion, impress the thought, and impress the feeling. If you are a leader and the people you are working with cannot be impressed, either their interest or their way and style of things, it is not okay. You know, some people may be impressed by one's lifestyle, by one's thought, by the way the person dress, by the way the person act. That is also relationship. But we must see that in this relationship, sometimes it will make us to be free with one another. And we always say that not only that relationship is coming together of two persons to be and fulfill the working that ought to be. But when I was doing the keynote address the other day on the field, I mentioned that on relationship, we will say that it is a lifetime commitment to another person. So generally, relationship is a lifetime commitment to another person, which develop in them, number one, the bonding of sharing life together. Number two, mutual friendship. Number three, coming together of one another and remaining in a comfortable mood with each other. This is now the general perspective of relationship. It's motivated a coming together that have meaning and can really help us. So we need to get off on the issue of relationship that only end in romance, end with that, because it flows in the younger life of the people. Now, somebody was telling me to talk about lust and love. And I told the person that when we talk about lust, that lust is perfect love gone astray. You may start as a youth. You may start as a leader. You have interest in somebody. Sincerely, you did not have anything in your mind, especially the opposite sex. You were moving together, praying together, walking together, doing together. But along the line, you start to see yourself becoming interested in either the woman or the man. And you begin to have a little influence. We could sit together, we could touch one another, we could go beyond. And that genuine starts becomes a sinful ending. So youth must think about that. Many marriages that was based on such relationship doesn't last, because when the reality comes, you see that this person will not be able to talk face to face again. It will now say no. But when we establish a relationship that have developed a bonding together of one interest, one aim, one purpose, working towards one goal, we see that that kind of relationship will be maintained. So in leadership, we will look at this. In my material that I produced, I've explained relationship in about 12 different ways so that we can fully understand what relationship is all about. Because even the devil wants relationship. God wants relationship. Man wants relationship. Sometimes they are sinful relationship. Sometimes they are building relationship. There are sometimes they are motivational relationship. But all we can say is, if our relationship cannot build in another person a virtue that will promote oneness, it is no relationship at all. That's a little I can say about the question. I don't know whether I'm okay or should I continue?
Yes, you've really touched the key points that we need to know. Like you know that I'm mentoring our youth, because sometimes people think it's only our seminars and conference that people can come to learn. But nearly every week, I receive a phone calls or a text message because I'm their mentor. And they will come with this kind of questions because I believe that while you are here and you are even a counselor of relationship and you can touch on it. The first question they normally ask me, and I believe any one of you can ask the same question on the platform. How can we know that, how can we identify a material, no, how can we identify someone that is true, that is the right person to marry, something like that? And how can you identify, because we know that everybody has their agenda, but how can we identify that this person is a true person and before they start the relationship, like a sign or something?
Okay, actually, it is a good thing, and that let's look into that marital aspect. In one of my books, because on marriage, I've written a book like Making Your Marriage Meaningful, Enjoying the Marriage of Your Dream, and other ones, Being the Best in Marriage. And I talk about the human form so that you can know yourself. I've written almost 12 books on marriage. I have said this to know a wife material, because I think that is what we are hearing to.
Yes.
To know a wife material or a husband material. There are certain expectations. Number one is place of interest. This person that is coming to your life as a lady, and you say he wants to be a wife. Yesterday, somebody called me from US, and they were wanting to marry. They accepted themselves, but when they came together, they came to see they were too opposite. And so it could not work. They call me, what do we do? If a wife material, number one, will show a sign of respect and commitment. Many a times, if you have a wife you want to marry, I'm talking down to young ones, and then all the time, I don't have credit. I want transport. I want money. I want you to do this for me. I want you to do that for me. All demanding is not a wife material. If you go into it, beauty is deceitful. Because some people want to see, they look at wife material as beauty, good body belts, a round neck, open teeth, something like that. And so, he's very fine. He's glassy. That is not the issue. The issue is, who is this person in the inside? A wife material will always be a builder. The Bible says a good woman builded the house, and the evil one block it down. If a man, a boy, or a young person want to marry, and the wife you want to marry doesn't think about your future, how will our building be? How is your life going on? But only what can you provide? What can you provide? What can you provide is not a wife material. If a man wants to marry a girl, and every time will ask of sex, talk about money, talk about you didn't do well, you were standing with the other person, you were doing this, and it's only doing a monitoring work on you, it's not a husband material. A husband material will have interest on your development. If you were not a graduate and you were just a small person, that schooling, that level of your education will not matter to him. What he knows is, how can I take this person to the height he can go? That is a husband material. He cares for the development of the wife. He cares for the future of the home. He does not only care for the material thing, but how will our marriage last? I said, I am now 48 years in marriage, and we never have a crack. And we still go on because we understand what marriage is all about. A husband material, number two, must be spiritually minded. We know very well in psychology that women are multifaceted, while men are single-faceted. Women are multifaceted in the sense that women can talk 3 things, 4 things, 5 things, 7 things at a time, and they will still remember. But a man will only want to hear one thing so as to do that one thing. And if we don't understand them very well, we have a problem. That's why Peter told the people, he said to the men, he said, live with your wife with understanding. They will tell you 5 things, 7 things, even 12, and they will remember all of them. But a man wants to pick one and do one before he does the second one. So for that reason, when you have an understanding of what it is, then you are a husband material. But when you don't want to care to know, you are not. Next thing is a husband or a wife material must actually know who and what is expected of him. Know your limitations. All is not sex. All is not the flamboyant money spending. All is in the inside. If you prepare yourself in the inside, why did God prepare Adam food and take the bone or the rib out of Adam to make the woman? He wanted the man to have the real content of what marriage should be so that he can share the content with those who are coming. The man feeds the home, the wife, and the children. So if you are a wife, a husband material, you must possess what it takes to be a man. To be a man is not big voice. It's not money. To be a man is to be a stable person that can give succor to everyone. I see a man as a tree with leaves and with fruits, that people who come under that tree can have a shelter, can have what to eat, can have the coolness. So a husband material will always care about the woman. How does she increase? What does he do? How do we make it? If she say 10 things, should I ignore them? No, don't ignore. Accept it and then tell the woman, let's do it one by one. A reasonable woman will know that. A wife material is someone that cares about the future, cares about the home, and think about what they can do. The husband may not have anything. There is a miracle in this love issue. A woman can love the husband until she gives everything of herself to the man. And if he loves the man, even when the man had nothing, she will never insult that man because there is a foundation of love right there. That's a white material. Who will bear with you with all the weakness, with all the strength? But sometimes some men don't even think about this. They don't appreciate these women. They will see their simplicity and destroy them. So let us understand that there are 48 things that can identify a white material, and there are 30 things that can really show a husband material. Those things are made ready if you want to know them. So I will encourage them. If you want to be a white material, education is not being a white material or a husband material, because most of the time, Paul was told by this person, he said, many ladies have made you mad. Some of us are really mad in marriage. You see a man slapping the woman. Are you a white material? You were not a cane beater. You see a woman insulting the husband. Nonsense. I only come to marry you. What do you have? What do you have? Why did you marry? So when we understand the picture of marriage, and then we allow ourselves to flow in the anger, you picture the love as Jesus. One day I was talking about the 7 principles of perfect marriage. And I said the first and foremost is imitate God. If you look at Isaiah chapter 5, when God was commenting and taking Israel as a wife, he said, what have I not done to my vineyard? I have surveyed the whole place, brought in good fruits, planted, lay a fence around. I set a tower that we can know what is going on. That's what a husband must be. Create an environment of convenience for your wife. Leave something that she can enjoy. Let the children have a hope, they have a father. When this is being done and the home is well, then the marriage is working. If I want to talk more, I will take our time. As a marriage counselor, the people I have said will help us to understand.
I know.
Prof.
How can we get your book?
Prof. Queen, may I ask before I forget, Prof. Queen, Prof. Elizabeth?
Yes, sir.
Who asked that question? Is it a millennial or a Gen Z?
They asked during the week. It's a man, actually.
So if it's, I think the question was asked by the Gen Y or the Gen Z. So my answer to him or her is, why don't you ask Chat GPT? Sorry, Reverend.
Yeah, that's okay. Before you go, how can we get those books?
Okay, I will communicate how we will get them.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So for every one of you, unfortunately, I won't be able to delay our Reverend Professor Akpabio because he's been around since 10 o'clock. And we still want to move on to call on Professor Nada to come and complete the job she has started. And also, maybe we will also call on our great leader, Professor Karudi and Professor Charles, to also round up everything for us. And then we hand over to Professor Nada to close today for us. So I want to say thank you, sir. I have so many questions they asking me, but maybe next seminar, we will need to bring you back because relationship is very, very important as a leader. That was because, like I always say, charity begins from home. So if your house is in order, then you'll be able to lead the people out there. Law is not easy, but we are learning because no one is perfect. So that's why this seminar is all about. That we are talking about leadership, and we are also talking about relationship. Because like Professor have said today, you have to build that relationship, first of all, with your spouse, your children, your family, and then with your co-workers, your partners in business, and even your team. And there's principles that you can use. For example, he said it right from the beginning. As a woman, you cannot be a director or a big man, a big boss in your working place and come home and want to be a big boss. No, you have to submit because that is different relationship entirely. So you have to be, you have to switch. It's like one day, somebody was asking my pastor's son in school, does your dad is a pastor, does he spend time with you at home? And the boy said, church is the pastor of the church. At home is my father. That's it. That's it. And that is the way we can balance.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer.
Yes, he said the pastor, my dad is the pastor of his church.
In the church.
In the church.
But at home,
is my dad.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So we want to say thank you, sir, Reverend Professor Aniefiok Akpabio from Nigeria. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And the benefits
before it goes off my head,
yes.
Prof. Queen Elizabeth, can I just share this with everyone? I just remembered, you know, after about more than 40 years of being in management and leadership, you know, and all this communication, they're all very important.